Hey everyone, welcome back to the Maverick channel. Now today we want to review Fetch.AI. We talk about Fetch.AI on this platform a lot. Fetch.AI is going to change everything. I've done plenty of videos about, if you watch my first introduction about Fetch.AI, you'll have a better understanding of what they're doing. They're designing multi-agent systems. Basically what these are digital assistants that make decisions on behalf of individuals. They help individuals or humans interact with machines. They facilitate machine-to-machine interaction, and essentially they can be programmed with any language to make very dynamic decisions. They reside within a dynamic environment, and their purpose is to make decisions on their own, on behalf of their users, on behalf of their owners. And these agents can be used in supply chains, they can be used in hospitality. We're going to review some of the products really quickly to kind of remind ourselves of what's happening. But before we do that, I wanted to review their recent partnership. Fetch.AI is always searching out for strategic partnerships, like with Bosch Global, which is a multi-billion-dollar company. There's Festo, which is another multi-billion-dollar company, and these are all into manufacturing. Bosch is within the automotive industry and many other industries, as you know, and I've done a video about them. Festo is within sort of futuristic manufacturing, flying robots, humanoid robots as well, more like miniature robots. So they're into this sort of futuristic manufacturing and automated manufacturing as well. So these are perfect partners. We've heard of Fetch has gotten funding rounds from companies like Fireblocks. Fireblocks is an institutional grade custodian, and they also foster development within blockchain-centered industries. Fetch has partnered with Outlier Ventures. There's so many other partnerships that I cannot get off my head right now. But today we want to look at their current partnership. We also know that they launched their mainnet, and as a result, they've onboarded many validators, institutional grade validators, and Cosmos Station was the latest, I think, validators among others. I've mentioned them in my other videos, like I think there's staking.land, there's Infostones, there's so many others, institutional grade validators that are running the Fetch.AI network. Their recent partnership is with Validation Capital. Now, Validation Capital is essentially, you can see here, Validation Capital invests in Fetch.AI as a commercial validator. So it's not one of those things where maybe Validation Capital, they know they're already established, so they go to Fetch gives them tokens, and I imagine also the other companies had to actually buy those tokens. So what I'm trying to say is that these Validation Capital, they've gone out of their way to purchase, I think they're going to purchase Fetch tokens, and they're going to run institutional grade validation on the Fetch.AI network that's running on the Cosmos network. And they're not just going to do that, but they're also going to invest money in the Fetch.AI ecosystem. So let's just look at it briefly. Fetch.AI and Validation Capital would like to officially announce that Validation Capital has onboarded as a validator and is investing an undisclosed amount in Fetch.AI. Validation Capital provides secure node infrastructure and investment capital to blockchain networks with a focus on networks primed for commercial adoption. Fetch.AI's recent collaboration with Catena X Automotive Alliance, I've done a video about this. That's a big alliance that involves Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen, that involves Bosch Global itself, and so many. The German and European councils are aware of this alliance, and the point of Catena X is to create this environment that fosters data aggregation and sharing, so that to foster a very good environment for the future of autonomous vehicles, especially within Europe. So it's a massive alliance, and it's partnering with it's partnering with Fetch.AI, Ocean Protocol, all these data blockchain centered companies and organizations that are starting up. So here and other large automotive companies, this points to a rapidly growing institutional and enterprise interest in the Fetch.AI ecosystem. So guys, this is massive. So this investment will be instrumental in bringing Fetch.AI's vision of AI and blockchain based applications closer to commercialization. Fetch.AI will allocate the funds towards research and development of DeFi, decentralized finance applications, as well as further development of existing use cases. Validation Capital is excited to partner with Fetch.AI and will help grow the network as a validator and investor. The Fetch.AI team are leaders in decentralized machine learning and are building a platform that will empower limitless commercial applications. So guys, this is massive. So if you go to the Validation Capital website, you can see basically some of the other companies that they're running validator nodes with, or they've invested in, or they've partnered with. And Chainlink, we all know Chainlink is massive in the Oracle industry. They're the pioneers of the Oracle industry within the blockchain industry, which is pretty much getting real world value data onto the blockchain, which allows that interaction, which allows the physical world, or the world that we know and love, to interact with the blockchain industry. Then they partner with VeChain. We know VeChain is big in the supply chain, especially in the Asiatic regions. Theta, I haven't looked into Theta that much, but I've heard big things about Theta, and it's a lot of people are very bullish on this. Flow is another ecosystem. Matic, we all know Matic, it's scaling the Ethereum network. Harmony and Casper Labs, I think Casper Labs is trying to foster an environment where people that are trying to develop on Ethereum 2.0 can actually come here and develop. Now, when you look deeper into the Validation Capital, you see an alliance, you see a correlation with, or partnerships within Validation Capital and T-Systems. We know T-Systems is a big company that's deep into technology and that has already partnered with Fetch.AI. It is actually one of the first partners of Fetch.AI before it even reached the level it is right now. So you see these parallels or these connections within these partners that Fetch.AI has. T-Systems and Validation Capital to partner with Flow blockchain. So here we saw that Validation Capital is working with Flow, with the Flow blockchain, but at the same time there's also T-Systems involved. So this is industries collaborating and working together, bringing in capital and resources from all directions, all concentrated around the Fetch.AI ecosystem. That's why this is extremely massive. And of course, the Twitter stamp of approval, we can see here Validation Capital retweeted the fact that they're going to be working with Fetch.AI. We're pleased to announce that Validation Capital has onboarded as a validator and is investing an undisclosed amount in Fetch.AI. So guys, don't underestimate these partnerships. If you feel like you're losing it, you're forgetting what's going on, you're forgetting what's at stake here, you're forgetting the status quo, then I urge you to go back and review the videos I've done about MetaLex, about Atomix, about Mobix, and really help yourself reaffirm where this is all going and how massive this is. So to briefly, there's this tweet that was tweeted by Huguaz. Now, of course, this is a bunch of products or ecosystems that have been test built around Fetch.AI by Fetch.AI themselves and other companies just interested in the Fetch.AI ecosystem. Obviously, this can be found on the Fetch.AI website itself if you come here under use cases. But since it was tweeted by this person, I got reminded about it. So I just want to review briefly about what this is, and just to help you remember, help myself remember as well. So AI generated NFTs. So you all know non-fungible tokens. Non-fungible tokens, most people, they've mostly been around art and the art industry, but you've seen other, something else I forgot to mention is that these T-Systems people, the Flow blockchain is developed by Dapper Labs. Now, Dapper Labs is the company that created, or that is behind, CryptoKitties and NBA Top Shot. You remember CryptoKitties was pretty much the first NFT platform to blow up on the Ethereum network in a good way, and NBA Top Shot has been another amazing, very lucrative platform that has been built that sells NFTs of clips of NBA stars dunking and NBA clips. So that's pretty interesting. So AI generated NFTs. For those that are familiar with artificial intelligence, there's something called generative adversarial networks. So these generative adversarial networks, you can actually generate images. You have an adversary, you have a generator. So you have a bunch of noisy images that you input in there, and on the other end, a bunch of calculations, neural calculations are generated. So you can use different algorithms, neural network algorithms, and then on the other end, they actually generate very realistic images. You can generate images of faces, of houses, of animals. It's pretty interesting stuff. So they want to incorporate this within, so you can easily generate or create NFTs using that technology. Then crypto/commodities exchange, I've already reviewed. Metalex is some other amazing exchange that the Fetch.AI team is building, which is dealing in commodities and trading commodities, butter, rice, gold, silver, rare metals. You can trade differences in prices of different currencies. Maybe you can trade Bitcoin against Tesla, you can trade Chainlink against Cosmos, against Polkadot, but some of them have not been implemented yet. But if you go to their Ethereum version and their Binance version, they've actually implemented these things into the Metalex platform. So that's what it's all about briefly, but I've done a video about it in case you want to check it out. Then collateralized debt exchange, they've created the Atomics exchange, obviously, which is going to launch soon, which is amazing. This will be centered around lending and borrowing. So you'll be able to collateralize physical assets and translate that into a loan. And it's all automated within this process. And there will be different tokens created within that ecosystem, just like in Metalex. There are tokens that are created to govern these transactions. If you settle on a position trading within a banded position, tokens are generated for that activity, and the same thing will be for Atomics as well. So distributed manufacturing marketplace by Festo, this is amazing. There's an amazing video between a conversation between Maria Minarikova of Fetch and one of the lead developers from Festo, and he showed this, one of the best demonstrations I've seen of how Fetch agents are actually controlling machines that are interacting with each other using agents. And by doing that, they actually know where to go. So it's like a virtual representation of what they want the physical world to look like, how they want their automated manufacturing to look like. It's one of the best demonstrations of Fetch agents that I've ever seen. You guys need to go check it out. Core learning solutions for research and medical applications. Now, this one is massive. This one is one of the most massive applications. Of course, the biggest applications are always the least expected, but this one is not only massive or potentially massive, but potentially extremely important. And I'll do a separate, well-researched video about this. Basically, core learning is when you see neural networks, you can have supervised and unsupervised learning, though the Fetch agents are mostly based around reinforcement learning. So you can have supervised learning. So you have a neural network that trains, you have input data, it trains that input data, then it has an output data. So the whole process, determining after the training of the data, there's weights that are used to train that data. There's a matrix multiplier in there that generates weights that are used to train that data and then have an output. So as you train more and more data, those weights are refined. So each time, so the more accurate those weights are, the more accurate the whole training process is, the better an output that you have. So the whole point of core learning is to have different institutions, hospitals, or fintech organizations sharing these accurate weights, and there's a voting process that votes on the best weights, which can be used collectively to train specific data in X-rays, with the case of COVID-19, and any institution that uses statistical data. Core learning is very, very important when it comes to that. Micromobility, we know Data is another company that outside of Fetch.AI that's developing micromobility solutions, especially in urban centers. I've done a video about this. So basically, scooters, those tiny electrical devices. So you can easily book them on this decentralized platform that they're creating. There's an incentive for doing that. It's token based. There's an incentive for you can easily track your journey before you take it, before you perform the journey. You know where your vehicle is, and everything is decentralized, and your data is within your hands. It's not controlled by another company. Then we look at AAA travel agents with Amadeus. Amadeus is another massive organization. Actually, Amadeus is, give me a second. Amadeus is very big in the travel industry, hotels and automotive, and they've created this huge chain around that. And Fetch.AI, to see that Fetch.AI has partnered with those people is pretty big. And where did we stop? Okay, AI oracles. I've done a very detailed video about AI oracles that are being created by Fetch.AI. So there are many oracles that we've looked at, that as other companies like Chainlink have created, and the other companies that Fetch.AI has partnered with. But with agent-based oracles that they're creating, these oracles are supposed to be smart. And if you look at companies like Chainlink, where they want their futuristic oracles to be, it's very, very tantamount or very similar to what Fetch.AI is already creating. So we can almost say that Fetch.AI is already ahead of the game in that sense. They already have the technology, they already have the infrastructure, and they have the technical know-how and the people to actually create some really game-changing technologies. And IoT ecosystems with Bosch, Bosch is very big on the economy of things as well. So this is integration of Internet of Things, which is IoT, using economy of things and creating a financial layer so that this machine-to-machine interaction or vehicle-to-vehicle interaction or whatever human-to-machine interaction is incentivized, and there is an economic layer which further incentivizes different people and organizations to interact in that way, to give it reality, because if there is a financial layer, there is that reality. We know Fetch.AI is creating stop loss agents. In DeFi, there's impermanent loss. If you're shorting the market and the markets go up, if you're long in the markets and they go down, you can make massive losses. Or if you're providing liquidity and there's impermanent loss. So if you have an agent that can monitor your activities as you're trading or providing liquidity or generally having your money within the blockchain ecosystem, it can initiate an automated stop loss so that you don't lose your money in case something sudden just happens in the market. Mobility field trials in Germany. This is, parking agents created by, I think, Dapper Labs as well. Then smart city trials in Dubai. There is more information to come on this. Distributed delivery networks for last mile logistics. We know Fetch.AI, basically, its technology is based around supply chain and, tracking, being able to track products from manufacturer to the last point. You're able to track the cars that are transporting these products. You're able to track their temperature, you're able to track their status constantly within this, in a decentralized way. So you're in control of every single data point, and you know exactly what the agents are doing. So there's a distributed delivery network, and the agents can communicate with each other because they're living within an environment. Application development suites. This is like SDKs, software development suites. So if you're a developer, you can easily just go into the Fetch ecosystem and build something because there is already an environment that has been created to foster that. Science agents. This ties into the agents being able to communicate with, say, vehicles. The vehicle is able to see a sign and know what to expect. Maybe it's a stop sign. Then autonomous rail network integrations. This also falls within the distributed delivery networks or the DDN. So you have agents that are keeping track of customer tickets, the train, rail map. So they're able to there's a constant communication between the customer and the railway system. So as that happens, you're able to keep track of the exact times of the train movements, the timetable, and the prices of the tickets, at what time the trains are open or closed. It just makes everything smarter. Decisions can be made on behalf of you as a customer. Then there's smart parking and congestion solutions. This is being developed by Fetch itself and also Dapper Labs as well. Dapper Labs, we saw they had so many demonstrations within Germany, so they're building these smart parking solutions. They have some amazing demonstrative videos online as well. Smart e-mobility. These are some. I think there was a competition way back that Fetch won in the smart e-mobility. So you see where agents are fitted into vehicles, and these vehicles are able to track, say, charging stations, and they can track that based on the customer's needs. Maybe you want a playground, you want a coffee place, you want some specific activity to be happening around that charging station. So as your vehicle charges, you're distracting yourself and spending your time. Maybe you want a library nearby, I don't know, anything. So it comes very, very handy. Then the smart immobility and electrical vehicle solutions, that all tied into what I've explained, basically having these automated agents that help to make decisions on your behalf. They help the vehicles communicate with each other, keeping track of everything, how much charge is in the car, the traffic congestion situation. The 19, we have thermometer agents. So in the supply chain, it's very important to keep track of the temperatures of goods if you're especially transporting goods that are very sensitive with temperature. So you want to keep track of what their temperatures are. Now, for example, you can see in the coronavirus situation, there's some vaccines that are very temperature sensitive. So if there were agents that could track, so no matter where you are in the world, you can see in real time what the temperature of these goods are, and in case of any temperature drop or rise, the agents are able to automatically control or regulate the temperature within that system, or you can remotely control it yourself from anywhere, because there is that constant interaction between the agents and whatever interface you're using to interact with them. And home energy agents, this also obviously it ties into, you have a thermostat, you have agents controlling the temperature depending on your needs, depending on your desires, because they know everything about you. And even if they know everything about you, it's not scary, because this data is your own personal data and only you have access to it, unless you want to sell it to an organization, of which then you can decide which chunk or which part of your data that you want to share with that organization. So guys, yeah, I wanted to quickly review this to sort of remind ourselves of how massive the Fetch.AI ecosystem is, and you should not sleep on this project. This is one of the biggest projects I've seen in the whole blockchain industry. I know there's other projects creating amazing stuff, very, very impactful stuff, but these ones have a very concentrated competitive advantage. They're creating a specific product that allows people to create a barrage of other products that are capable of doing things that we haven't even thought of. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you've stayed for this long, please like and subscribe. I truly appreciate the constant visits. And if my content is crap, please let me know in the comments. If you like because that makes me better. If it's fair enough, if it's good, I always appreciate the comments. Take care, guys. Have a good one.